In this video, I'm going to share 5 spiritual novels that can change your life and have a big impact on your spiritual journey. And all of them really helped me on my spiritual path, and they gave me so much insights and they really changed the way I look at life. Let's start with the first book. And I do have to say that as well, the first as the second book are 2 of my all-time favorites. And the first book is the Celestine Prophecy. And if you haven't read this book yet, I would put it on top of your reading list. And also when you just start your spiritual journey, this book is so worth reading because it has a lot of practical tips, but also a lot of different insights. And the book is divided in 9 insights. That build on top of each other, but that also are very different. So give different insights in different parts of spirituality. And it's about a guy that gets taken on an adventure by a couple of synchronicities that happen, and he goes to Peru, and then all these crazy things happen. And you can learn so much. Like it starts, for instance, with synchronicities and what synchronicities are and how they happen. So coincidences, where you know that they are no coincidence. And then it goes over and shows how actually all of life history or human history gets built on top of each other and what it has to do with each other. And then it goes into how you can start seeing energy. And I have to say, I have done the practices for it and I started seeing energy. So I was quite amazed by that one. And then it goes a lot into how humans work with each other and how you also, for instance, have your dramas and how you attract energy from other people and how you can solve that. And because of it, your own energy can rise. And then it goes into how we influence each other and how we can make each other rise. And it has all these small little things. It also shows, for instance, and that was for me a very big insight, how we take actually our own energy away by all the time feeling bad with ourselves or complaining. And then you see that the synchronistic flow stops. And I've also seen this a lot in my own life, that when we start with a lot of fears or with a lot of worries in our mind, that synchronicity stop or at least get less. So this is a book that I think can help you so much on your journey, and yeah, I would highly recommend reading it. For the second book, I had a really hard time choosing because I just really love this writer and almost all of his books, and that's Coelho. And I think that all of his books are very special and they all have a different meaning. So if you have written the first one, you can just continue with the next one. But for the second tip, I chose The Alchemist. And this is a book that you will find on a lot of lists with spiritual books. And I chose it because actually it's pursuing your life goal out of your heart. And it just fits so well with this channel and also with the way I look at life. And this book is about a guy called Santiago, and he starts following his dreams, his heart. And as a young boy, he becomes a shepherd, and then he gets onto this travel to Egypt and to the pyramids, pursuing a treasure. And every time he starts following his heart more and the flow of life more. And you can take out of this book so many little details, so many things that also can help you in surrendering, in letting go, in just following what your heart actually tells you. So yeah, on the second place is The Alchemist. And I would actually also recommend all the other books of Paulo Coelho because yeah, they're just really amazing. The next book that I really loved was the book Siddhartha. And it is an awakening story where this little boy in India grows up very wealthy, but at a certain point chooses to go by the ascetics and does different practices to awaken, but nothing works. And at one point he just or starts living a normal life again and starts drinking and doing different things. And then in the end of the story, he goes and lives by a river. And it's this beautiful story. And what I love in this story so much is that you see the different aspects. So not only the spiritual side, but also just the very human side. And yeah, there's just a lot of different sides and turns. So yeah, also a very good book to read. The next spiritual novel that is really worth reading is Jonathan Livingston's Seagull. And it's such a touching and beautiful story about this seagull that grows up but is different than the rest of the flock. And he loves to fly high in the sky and doing different flying techniques, but it's not accepted by the rest of the flock. And it's such a touching story with hope, despair, and hope again, about when you're different, but you keep going after your dreams, how you start meeting different people, or different seagulls in this case, that have the same dreams, the same hopes, and the same wants as you have. And I see this as well when you walk a spiritual path, that you actually are different than most people, but that you run into exactly the right people, the right moments. And that's just incredibly beautiful. And you also see that people around you start changing. And yeah, it's very beautiful how this story puts that all together. Even though I already mentioned one of the books of Paulo Coelho and also said to read all the other ones, I was just thinking about which book now really also helped me on my spiritual path. And when I just started with my spiritual practices, I read the book The Road to Santiago from Paulo Coelho, and it really helped me in that time. So I'm still going to give that one as a 5th recommendation. And it's this beautiful story about a guy, or actually about Paulo Coelho, that walks the road to Santiago and is looking for his sword. And he comes in all these different spiritual practices and all these spiritual challenges that he has to overcome to come closer to his heart and to himself. And it gave me back then so many insights that it's also really worth reading. I really hope that these 5 books can help you further on your spiritual journey. And I have to say, every one of them has made such a big impact on my life and on the way I look at life, that I really hope that they will do the same for you. And if you like this video, please like the video, because it will rank better in the YouTube algorithm and will help more people to see the content. Write also in the comments maybe other suggestions about spiritual novels that you liked. Subscribe my channel for future videos, and I wish you an amazing day, and I'm sending you all my love.